and just cut right into it. We had to stop before we got T-boned.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yes, please drive slowly and look both ways.
So, Jerome, so much fun. But let's move on from our trip to a movie, or I should say a film series that I finally got fully introduced to.
Mm-hmm.
So this past Tuesday, the four of us plus some other friends of ours, we went to go see the quote-unquote premiere of Clerks 3 by Kevin Smith.
Yes.
Yep.
Now, I had only seen Mallrats and Jay and Silent Bob Reboot before we had our little mini movie marathon before Clerks 3 premiered. So we all watched Clerks, Clerks 2, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and then Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, which after watching those other three movies as well as Mallrats, I'm like, oh my gosh, I get this movie so much more. I get the references more.
Yeah, no, and there's like a lot of stuff even collected from like his Kevin Smith's stand-up. But yeah, if you like prerequisite for Clerks 3, you have to watch, Clerks 1, Clerks 2, and all the other View Askew movies. So,
It's like the ones we watched was like the perfect like way to get ready for Clerks 3.
oh yeah. And you guys still, Charles and Vinny, you guys still need to watch the first Clerks.
Right.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
So my family bought Paramount Plus, and I could watch it for free in there, so I still need to do that.
Yeah, cool.
But this is kind of like a full-on introduction for me because I've known about Clerks 2, seen bits of it. I've seen a few parts of Kevin Smith's movies on TV, but I'm getting the full introduction here, so it's been nice to really watch these films. And even Clerks, the animated series, that was
fun.
such
That was
good,
so much fun.
genius writing and hilarious comedy.
Yeah, I'm glad actually that like fit just like the day before. We watched
The 2 days before.
2 days before, like we watched that, so we popped it in, and I'm glad they actually used. By the way, sorry, spoiler alert for this part, but yeah, I'm glad they used some parts from the cartoon into the movie.
Yeah.
There was, they had a character said, well played, Clerks, which is a line from Leonardo, and when Mark Bernardin, one of Kevin Smith's podcast partners, Fat Man Beyond, he played a black character named Lando, and so so it was nice, like we get it. And then when they go again, sorry, cut into this part when they make a reference to hot cold in a freezer.
I was like, oh, that's from the show.
Yeah. So good Kevin Smith. But anyway, go on.
Okay, so before we get any further, I will say there will be slight spoilers for Clerks 3. So, again, you need to watch the first two Clerk movies, especially going into this movie. Now, non-spoiler review for me, this is a 9 out of a 10 for me. This movie was fantastic. Like, this movie was made for the fans, for the people following Dante
Yes,
and Randall
it
and Jay and
was.
Silent Bob for
Yes.
the past almost 30 years.
Yep.
The writing was done really well. The acting was great as always. It's just nice seeing Jay and Silent Bob and Dante and Randall at the Quick Stop again, and now Elias thrown into the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I would also say 9 out of 10. It definitely not only was the writing good, but then they're also I don't think this isn't really a spoiler. It's got an emotional impact to it as well.
Yes,
And
we'll get into that.
We'll get
in a
into that in
second.
the spoiler section, but I didn't expect that from a Clerks,
Yeah.
movie.
No.
Maybe you kind of got a little bit just because with like Clerks 2, you're like, oh, Dante falling in love with his like little crush
Becky.
there, yeah, Becky and all that, yeah. But this was much bigger. So,
Mhm.
but overall, excellent writing, and it felt like a true, like you said, love letter to the fans rather than just being a a typical corporate sequel. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So, and it's such a refreshing change of pace with in this day and age where so many sequels are just the typical member berries cash grab. You know what I'm saying?
Remember Jay and Silent Bob?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In this case, yeah, they had those, remember this moments, but it was done for a reason.
Mhm.
So, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so basically how the whole Clerks 3 happened was that Kevin Smith had a heart attack around 2018, and this kind of propelled him. He kind of had like this thought in his head that he's basically living on borrowed time. So there are some folks out there who are like, oh, I would never follow up another Clerks sequel and all that. Well, he had a story to tell, and with this one, for rating system wise, for friend out there, JD and I, we've just been fans ever since, us being friends in high school, and I would probably give this 4 Eggo movie muffins out of 4, just because it really does hit home, because these are characters that you've fell in love with, and I mean, when you watch either of the Jersey movies from Kevin Smith and you see this one, Terminator Dark Fate, take notes.
Yes. Yeah, no kidding.
Because as soon as we hit spoiler territory soon, we're going to dig deep into this. So is there any more that you guys wanted to,
I mean, I was going to say, going into this movie, because I've seen these movies because of you guys, I thought, okay, cool, fun, comedy, very, very adult and very real relationships right here. This is a very realistic world. And in fact, I wouldn't even consider this the real world. But going into this movie, watching it, again, like the guys say, this is a 9 out of 10. It hits you in the emotional spot because we're getting up there in the age. We've been through so much in our lives. And this just this really is kind of like a punch in the face of reality saying, we are on borrowed time. Let's just make the most of our lives. And it really does hit you on the emotional part in ways you never expect.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So let's just get into it. From here on out, there are going to be spoilers for Clerks 3. So, for me, the first 5 minutes of the movie, we see Dante opening up the quick stop, walk over to the cash register. He does the kiss of the hand on the cashier. It says, I forget her last name, but Becky, 1980 something to 2006. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
You killed Rosario Dawson?
in the first, so now we enter spoiler territory. So we cut to the beginning of the movie. It starts out very much how you recall back to Clerks 1. And so it doesn't start off in black and white. And being a fan, you notice something's playing in the background by My Chemical Romance, Black Parade. And if you guys ever listen to that song, it's very depressing when you hear the lyrics and all, for being emo rock and shit. And so, the lights, all the scenes are basically going to the pomp and circumstance of the song. And next thing you know, it cuts to the newspaper clipping of the register. Becky Hicks, her last name, and it was basically her obituary newspaper clipping. So we're already introduced that Becky from Clerks 2 has already passed away. So,
watching the only trailer that came out for this movie, the only shot you saw of Becky was of her and Dante in a movie theater. It's okay, cool, they're probably watching the premiere of Randall'S movies. Okay, sweet, I can't wait to see her. Nope, you're not gonna see her.
Sort of. Well, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We're gonna do a break for the movies. Of the scenes of what we can remember from Clerks 3.
So
we're just gonna go in order, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then Randall comes out of comes into the quick stop, and then Elias is now an employee of the quick stop with his mother and his quote unquote silent Bob.
He's always been an employee since the ending of the second movie.
Oh, that's right.
RST video, and then quick stop.
Such
Which
an
now
oddball
Jane
character.
Silent Bob opened the video store as a THC store.
Yep.
That's how we did shit in the 90s, son.
Yeah. I love the heck out of that, where he's trying to do this, smooth pass off of the drugs to this guy, and it's in this day and age, it's commonplace. You just go down to the freaking building, there's dispensary, yeah, and it's no big deal. But they're still acting like how it was in the 90s, and they bring up that reference. This is how we did things in the 90s, son.
I mean, if you watch the other movies beforehand, you can see those guys got busted a lot.
Probably.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did.
So moving on through the movie, Elias now has his Silent Bob friend. They're into Christian NFTs. Rolled my eyes a little bit at that.
I'm glad they poked fun at it, though.
So then Dante goes, he's to the bathroom, which is at the back of the quick stop. Elias and Randall are talking, and then all of a sudden Randall's like, I can't catch my breath. He's like, do you need mouth to mouth? What is this, a Tinder date? Get off me. And then immediately Randall has his heart attack. I didn't expect that to happen until like midway through the movie. So the fact that they got it immediately into the beginning was like, oh, okay, movie's immediately starting.
That's when the rising action begins.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I don't know about you guys, but when he had that heart attack, it always makes me feel my own mortality whenever I see something like that happen.
A little bit,
Where you're just like, oh boy.
Yeah, if you're not taking care of your body, you could feel it in your left arm, like, oh shit, here it comes. You know.
Exactly.
But yeah, this was with Randall's heart attack. It's a definite callback to Kevin Smith's heart attack, and he's just like he's passing out, can't catch his breath after these guys just had a really short hockey game, up on.
On the roof of the roof. I forgot about that.
And there were so many cameos from like Kevin Smith's like friends and family. They were all up on there playing, and all his co-stars from Comic Book Men, Walt Flanagan, Brian Johnson.
Oh, so that's who all those guys were. Okay.
Yeah, and then Ernie O'Donnell, and and like one of the guys from Impractical Jokers was on there.
Which we all need to get quick stop hockey jerseys now.
Yep.
Kevin Smith, sell them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean they are selling them. Geeky Jerseys is doing it. So
sweet.
They
Okay.
sold out.
Okay, I need to
so-
get the quick
course
stop.
they did.
Of course.
Yeah.
I need to get the quick stop smock, but because we're still saving for the trip, I'm like, I want it, but I
Just do
can't.
it.
I went ahead and already
Just
did.
get
Of
it.
course.
Yeah.
No, but my credit card bill this month's already going to be massive. I don't want to add to
You
it.
don't have actual money, so
Dude, we're nerds. This is what we're used to. We buy shit and we're in debt.
fine. The one buy rule of the month there.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, so Randall has his heart attack. They're shipped off to the hospital. Now, remind me the actress's name. She's the mechanic from The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Oh,
the-
yeah.
the doctor. I forget her name, but
But yeah, she's Randall's doctor, and they wheel him into surgery. And as they're wheeling Randall into surgery, Dante looks towards the front door, and he has a quick flashback to when Becky was brought in. I'm like,
Oh,
and
yeah.
she was
While she was
pregnant.
pregnant.
It's like, no.
Amy Sedaris, I think that's her
Amy
name.
Sedaris?
It's Sedaris, yeah,
Okay,
that's her name.
so yeah, she's Randall's doctor, and as they're doing the procedure,
She's
in,
all
like,
dressed up like a witch and shit.
Tipsy witch, mind you.
So they're doing the surgery, and to keep Randall's
Amy
mind
Sedaris.
preoccupied, he gives a retelling of The Mandalorian to her. And at the very end, he's like, "You like the Batman as surgery?" She's like, "Oh, thank you. With great power comes great responsibility." I'm like, "Oh my god."
I can feel the cringe of all you nerds. You guys like, when you want to correct somebody so badly, but you're just like, let it slide.
But what's
So even the people next to me, like I felt it off of them too. It's like-
I kept feeling it on my left.
Wait, where's Vinny? But in the theater. But yeah. And so what was great about that scene was, Amy Sedaris, her and Randall, they're pretty much going back and forth. And there's this one funny scene because Randall talks about how tiny his dick is, but he kept like, I don't want the Dante to hear this, so cover your ears and turn away and shit. And so he's like, "Doctor, I kind of don't want to show my private parts around my friend and all that." And so basically, the type of heart attack that Randall gets is called the Widowmaker, and so he's about to get his stents put in. What he's about to have stents put into his heart and everything, and so they basically pull his underwears off, and they basically shove the stents right up his pee hole and all that. So yeah, definitely a funny scene there, and Randall, he's inside his hospital room, just kind of recovering and all that, and he just kind of reflects on he hasn't really done anything in his life except
It's the same movies over and over again.
yeah. And so he's just kind of I haven't really done anything with my life except owning the quick stop and all that. And so
I always thought you could make a good movie.
yeah, Dante says that line, and so Randall just has
You're
this little
right.
light bulb, and he just kicks up right up, and he's like, "I'm gonna make a movie." you know. And so next thing, they're pretty much trying to like gather all the funds and everything of how to start the movie, to which at this point Dante Hicks decides to call up his ex-fiance Emma from Clerks 2, played by Kevin Smith's wife Anna Schwalbach, or Jen Schwalbach Smith. And so of course it's been, I don't know how many years since they've contacted each other,
13 years, I think.
No, like 16 years. And so she's pissed at him still, obviously. And so he basically like gives up his half of ownage of the Quick Stop to her.
That's collateral.
That's collateral. Yep.
And so they get the funds and everything, and of course we're treated to this funny audition montage of all these actor cameos, from Sarah Michelle Gellar to Freddie Prinze Jr. To the Impractical Jokers, and who else was there?
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck, Danny Trejo.
I'm not supposed to be here today.
Yeah, they're all trying to do Dante, Randall, and Jay and Silent Bob parts, and they just can't hit it right.
Oh, Bobby Moynihan was auditioning for Silent Bob. And then what's his face did his sailboat line. Crap, Ethan Suplee.
Yeah, it was nice having the two Willems there. It was basically Ethan Suplee and Scott Mosier, who's been a long producer for Kevin Smith. That's beautiful, man. Like he was in it.
The only cameo I wish was in there was Jason Lee.
Yeah, Jason Lee. Yeah, that was definitely missing from it. But I mean, they're fine with what they got. So they, in the course of the movie, after the audition cameo filled written scene, they cut to the Quick Stop. They're going to film inside. It's basically all called back to how Kevin Smith filmed the first movie, Clerks, inside. And they talk about like the lighting of the flick and how everything should be, filmed and set. And of course, in order to, not have that problem with like lighting and everything for their, independent film that they did way back when, they decided, okay, let's just shoot in black and white. And so Kevin Smith gives off like,
this whole artistic spiel about shooting in black and white.
Yeah, all the technical aspects of like, why we need to film it in black and white, which is funny enough. He was also missing from this because Dave Klein was the director of photography for Clerks 1 and 2, and most of Kevin Smith's flicks. And of course, Dave Klein now, who's been their friend ever since, Vancouver Film School, he's now doing The Mandalorian right now.
I didn't know that.
So,
nice.
Yeah. They couldn't get him, so...
Silent Bob became the cinematographer.
Yeah, he became the DP. And so... they're filming the movie. I mean, like I said, there was a lot of funny scenes. We can't do it justice because, I mean, you have to watch this movie.
And then I think either right before filming or right after the auditions, Dante goes and visits Becky's grave, and he has a small little scene with like her spirit or her
Jedi ghost. Yeah.
And then they move on with the movie, and then
like to cut back on it, you basically for the fans, we always kind of wondered, well, did the baby survive? Because if they finally do reveal that the baby didn't survive, after the events of Clerks 2. So that really did hit hard.
Yeah.
And it was, fast forward a bit. I mean, it was nice having that confirmation, and the chemistry between Brian O'Halloran and Rosario Dawson is still there, on point.
It's really good.
And we cut to one scene where they, want to film at the movie's location.
From
obviously,
Clerks 2.
Yeah, obviously not the same movies because it was, that was from L.A. and then this one's in.
It was in New Jersey.
Yeah. And so, what happened was that like Dante is like completely, he's just has like PTSD of like the place, and he does not want to go in there because it just calls back to the day that he lost, his wife and kid. And so he's like, oh, I can't do this. And, Becky like shows up again. And she's like, no, it's okay. You could do it and all that. It shouldn't like hurt you or anything.
It's like, no, I can't.
And he just books it. He's just like, fuck it. I can't do this. And he just runs away.
Just has a complete breakdown.
Like, it's such a heavy scene, and yet they were going to shoot the Kinky Kelly scene.
Yeah, they want to shoot the Kiki Kelly scene. And Jay and Bob dress up in their Dogma outfits, and they're getting all the employees high and shit.
Which something I thought was quite funny was when I was looking up some facts on this. Apparently, when he does like that Wolverine stance with
blunts.
with the blunts, I guess that's their actual brands of like blunts that they sell.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Because it was like Snoogans, Clerks, something. It was like, oh, cool.
Something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny. Continue.
Anyway, so what happens is that he books it, and Randall can't, put 2 and 2 together. So, in order to get like publicity for the making of the movie and all that, instead of like an actual like news place in New Jersey, they get like a high school, Hudson journalism. I don't know, like that. That press. And so it was basically a callback to Kevin Smith's real high school.
Oh.
So this
okay.
is where we cut to Mark Bernardin, the girl's family, the girl that's basically interviewing Randall and his movie and shit. And so we cut to the scene, and they're kind of like wondering how come there's no black people in this movie and all that. And so they're going to try and find a way to like wedge them in there. So we cut to Dante.
Drunk.
He just crashes in, and he's just drunk, can't do the scene or anything like that. And Randall's just like, he's a little pissy and all that. Like, dude, this is my movie, man, and you're not gonna be, fucking it up and everything. So we're gonna do this all over again once you're all cleaned up and everything. And so, Dante, you could pretty much, feel it right there. Like he's kind of at his like breaking point right there. So we cut to a scene in
shark.
Yeah, we cut to the salsa shark. This is basically, they're filming the first Clerks movie, so salsa shark scene, and Dante is kind of lying on the freezer and all that, kind of looking up to the ceiling. Now, as fans, okay, they're going to do the scene from the first Clerks movie again, but something's a little different right now, and the camera keeps like cut to the shot of how the movie was filmed to like him, like a helicopter view. And
From black and white to color.
Yeah, and it's just going, and you feel, I forget what the camera technique is called, but it's like, it's the tension rising because you can notice like the camera's getting a little closer.
Oh, I didn't
to
even
Dante.
notice that.
And so suspense and all that, and to the point where, Randall is just kind of like feeling that like Dante's just like, fuck it, he's out of it and shit like that. Dante, like Brian O'Halloran, he gives the performance of a lifetime. He snaps back to his feet, and he's just like, dude, fuck you, man. Like, I've had enough of this shit.
You've had a heart attack, whatever.
Yeah, he was basically just laying down the law on him after so many years of being, taking so much verbal abuse from Randall. You always keep talking about this is your movie. Who's the one who got it started? I did everything for you,
This is
you.
my life.
And yeah, you're saying a bunch of shit that only happened to me, not you, and all that. And so, of course, like the girl's family, they're watching this being filmed, and you see Jay and Silent Bob, Elias, and Elias's little Silent Bob sidekick, kind of like filming at first, but like it gets really, really heated, and the dramas kick in and all that.
They just dropped the camera.
And yeah, they're like filming and then drop the camera, and and Dante, he's just yelling at him, and it really does hit like Randall, like, oh shit. And he's just like, you got out of a heart attack, you came fine. Me, I fucking lost everything. Where's my happy ending and all that? I don't get that. I have to continue.
Some of us already died.
Yeah. And
that really hit me hard.
And so, next thing you know, like Dante's just like, ugh, and he just collapses right there. Like, oh shit, his heart attack. And so
I was not expecting that. I was just like, okay, Randall's heart attack, and that's the movie. Nope, Dante's going to have one too.
Yeah, he just passes out. And I thought it was just like him just being like, oh, he's just tired, and he's just, he just,
Emotionally exhausted.
Right. Exactly. Nope. But no, it was another heart attack. Like, hey, call an ambulance and all that. And so, of course, the doctors, they don't, hey, he can't have any visitors or anything like that. And there's such a great character development moment in this movie. Because, again, in Clerks 2, Randall was kind of, verbal abusing Elias. And so, Randall, he shrugs. They're at the hospital, all of them, and he kind of shrugs off. Like, yeah, Dante's gonna be fine. He's gonna be, out of his, heart attack. And Elias, he's just like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, your friend is literally dying in the other room and all that. You should be with him and shit. And he's like, what are you talking about? And so Elias, he has his moment, and he's all like, dude, fuck you, man. Like, I looked up to you and all that, like a fucking, hero and all that, or bigger brother and shit. And you're just the biggest asshole like I've ever met in my entire life. Your friend is literally there dying and all that. You should be with him. And so, of course, Randall can't get in there. So I thought the only way to get in there was when he was running out of the hospital. I thought he was going to give himself another heart attack.
I kind of thought the same thing as well.
Because he's all out of breath. And I love how all the trailers and TV spots were like kind of using like him trying to breathing outside of the quick stop and all that.
Can't catch my breath.
Can't catch my breath. And yeah. And so he basically goes in, gets a laptop, and he enlists the help again of Jay and Silent Bob to basically break into Dante's room.
I took a poo in the OR. I took a poo in the OR.
That was the best moment.
So, of course, Jay and Silent Bob, being the heroic sidekicks that they are, basically, get all this security, hospital staff, distracting them and all that. And different heart attack moment. It wasn't just like Randall's. This one's very different. So
because he has the tube down his throat.
Yeah, he's basically on his respiratory system and all that. He's all hosed up. And, he kind of sees Randall, and he's just like, oh, you kind of feel like, oh, fuck, he doesn't want to see him. Like, yeah, he'll he's definitely going to get out of it and all that. Randall has, like, his little laptop, and he's like, hey, dude, I'm going to show you what I, filmed, what I got, like, chopped up and everything.
I finished our movie.
And so, I mean, the last words that, like, Dante ever said to him was basically, I quit as your friend and all that. And so, there's this tension kind of building.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's lying on the bed, and he, whips up the little table and all that. And he shows Dante Hicks the movie. And,
It's like, this is how I see you, man.
Very, 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 meta poetic is Kevin Smith. Like, he could have used all the shots recreated, that they did with all the actors all old and everything, but he decides to show the black and white footage from the first Clerks movie.
I had a feeling they were gonna do that, but just like seeing it, just like,
yeah,
and you're basically, you're cutting to it, and it's basically like how Dante's seeing it is his life is flashing before his eyes and all that, and then, in a very, very weird way, the audience is cut to an empty movie theater. And, you see Dante in there, and you're like, okay, he got out of it. Like, it played a trick on us.
yeah, we're seeing the premiere.
Like, we're okay, this is it. He's seeing the movie all finished and everything. But then something's definitely wrong because nobody else is there with him. So here comes Rosario Dawson holding his arm and all that. They're cuddling, and they're watching the movie.
I'm sitting there like, you better fucking not.
Mm-hmm.
No, like, and so, like... wow, I'm gonna try and not cry because that scene really does fucking kick. And so, he's watching, all the events that happen in Clerks 1 and 2, and so, Dante's in there, he's just smiling and all that, and right as Clerks 2 is about to end up on the big screen and all that, he just gets up, and Becky is there with him, and she's like, well, don't you want to stay for the rest of the movie? And he's just, calm and all that, just big, proud smile on his face. And he says, no, I trust the filmmaker. And, through the, what's happening. This is what's going to happen because it's like he's walking away. Like, the movie theater is basically he's going to enter the pearly gates of heaven. Like, he's practically, he's done and all that. Then we cut to, the heart beeping monitor and all that. And Randall's just like, oh shit, like here, Dante's basically, he's leaving.
Yeah,
he's dying.
Code blue. Yeah.
And so, fuck. So, fucking Randall, he's like holding his hand tight and all that, and he's like, please, man, don't leave me. And like, you think that line's gonna like, save the day and all that, because that's what happened in Clerks 2, but it's time to let go and all that, because I don't know any man who lost his whole family, his wife and kid, how any man could just continue with life after that. And so, cut to basically, daylight, and we're at Dante's funeral. So yes, Dante is dead. And so there's no like cheap gag or anything like that, like it's just a dream or anything like that. He's dead. And so Randall gets up there, and this is shit I would probably say at and hopefully someone, my funeral or some shit.
No.
But he said, he's saying like I would give off the quote. That's Kirk says to Spock in Wrath of Khan, but I'm more of a Star Wars fan, so all I can say is may the Force be with you.
This is the way.
This is the way. And he just looks at Dante's coffin and its closed casket, and he says, "You're not even supposed to be here today."
That's
hit.
where it got me. I was sobbing for the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Now, friends of mine, like, I haven't seen them cry since, it's funny having, friends, Chance and JD there, and it was like, oh shit, this is like Toy Story 3 all over again. And so we're basically like in tears and all that, and so, again, calling back to Terminator Dark Fate, that's how you're supposed to earn a fucking death like that.
Yeah.
And with Becky and the kid and all that. And with all the shit that, Dante gets, it was earned.
Mm-hmm.
You see Ryan Johnson, that's how it's done. It should have fell for Luke Skywalker in Last Jedi, but you didn't.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
anyway, we cut to Randall, and of course Emma's back, and you're like, oh fuck, we totally forgot about this loose end and all that. Is she gonna own the quick stop? Luckily enough, Elias and
The stupid Christian Kite NFTs made $1 million.
and so now that Harley Quinn Smith's boyfriend starts talking, and he's just like,
Wait, that's her boyfriend?
Yeah, that's her.
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't
know that.
That's why in the funeral they look back at each other and they kind of smile. So
Okay, that
didn't
makes
know
sense.
that. What that- okay.
So the kid from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, I forget Austin something, but yeah, he, they kind of
The kites are flying! The kites are flying!
So
You
yeah,
can talk.
you could talk, and here's the 50,000 of the of Dante's half and all that. So Elias basically fills in for Dante's shoes, and he's like, I can't really sit in Mr. Dante's spot. And so in a perfect moment, you could see like Randall finally grew up too, because he could still wisecrack, but it's just like he's taking life a little more seriously now. You could just see it. And so at a nice kind of Clerks 2 fashion moment, the movie pans back, and now it shows Randall, but now as the camera pulls back, we see
Wish
Dante.
you were here, man.
Yeah, and Dante is there with him, Brian O'Halloran. He's standing right beside him and all that, and it's the same exact shot from Clerks 2, but we cut to the new milkmaid, not Kevin Smith's mom, Grace, but it's
Harley Quinn Smith.
yeah, as Jay's daughter, going through the milk, and so movie ends, and that to me definitely deserved a full 10 out of 10, and I'm glad all the fans rallied together for like basically fuck you to the critics who can't.
Yeah, I think the critics gave this like a 66%.
Yeah.
Something
I mean, the
that.
fans are like 90-some%. I think critically this should get like somewhere between a 76 and an 83.
So a lot of people out there too, not just fans, because a lot of, if you watch all of his movies and all that, if you deep dove into Kevin Smith's documentaries, his stand-ups, his movies, and then you see this one, but without a shadow of a doubt, hell, I mean, I know it probably may not go anywhere, but dude, Brian O'Halloran as Dante Hicks deserves a Best Actor Oscar for Clerks 3, because holy shit, he poured out his heart and everything in it. You felt all the pain, of even him, like the comedy parts are just hitting. It wasn't just like a stoner comedy or anything like that. Like Kevin Smith gave you a finale to the Clerks trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we just have to wait for Mallrats 2.
Right. Like I'm like thinking on like the View Askew universe, like if he didn't make another movie, I'd be fine with it because this is not only a really nice ending to the Clerks trilogy, this is just like a nice ending to the View Askew universe.
A good send-off.
Yeah. And I mean, granted, I think all of us would love a Mallrats too. I probably wouldn't mind like another Kevin Smith movie, but if he didn't make anything else,
Like
I'm fine with that.
Clerks 2, and you guys got to see the documentaries, the making of the films, because you definitely do feel it. Back to the Well, the snowball effect. Clerks 2 could have ended it properly. Then we had Jay and Silent Bob reboot, and then Clerks 3. Now I'm glad with Clerks. That's it for the characters. We don't need to see them again for another 15, 30 years or something. And then, what's Randall doing when he's old? Because even back then, Jeff Anderson, who plays Randall Graves, he actually did have a hard time being Randall in this movie. I mean, after the first Clerks, he was almost like regretting that he even played the character in the first place.
Wow.
Because he was at that point like, oh God, it's that movie. People know me only for that movie. But then he kind of went full circle and accepted it. So this is it, like the final time you ever get to see Dante and Randall. So definitely Clerks 3, Kevin Smith out there, and all the cast and crew. You delivered a very great movie.
Yes, thank you.
Please, Reboot got a physical release, correct?
Reboot?
Yeah.
They did.
Okay, so yeah, Kevin Smith, when you're done with the road show for Clerks 3, release this on 4K, please. I want it. Release a View Askew universe box set. I would love to buy that.
Good luck, man.
Yeah, if only they could get that whole thing resolved with Dogma. You know,
gosh.
well, I was reading the history behind that, and I was like, "That's a
It's
mess."
Harvey Weinstein, Miramax, Dimension. It's a clusterfuck and all that. So all those, again, it's kind of like with Godzilla, Star Wars. It's a headache. So,
and not to mention, it's gotten even worse now that Clerks 3 came out. Because remember when I told you guys that?
Oh yeah, you were buying the Dogma
Blu-ray?
DVD.
Yeah, I got the DVD for like $20. And I was saying the Blu-ray was like about 50. I looked. You can only find it now on
doubled.
eBay
Yeah.
for like 100. Like,
Yep.
well over 100. I was like, are you kidding me?
I saw it on the Blu-ray for Dogma on Amazon the other week. I wonder if it's even available.
I don't think it
now.
is because I looked. All the Amazon listings basically went like AFK.
yep.
And
$195, one left in stock.
okay, so then one
Damn.
showed up at 195. Then yeah, because when I looked a couple days ago,
The DVD is 32. That's not bad.
yeah, but I mean I got the DVD, so but yeah, I mean that's the reason why I went ahead and bought Clerks animated series, and I went ahead and bought Clerks 1 and 2 because I knew that those could probably start going up in price, especially
Yeah.
the animated one, because that one is a little bit harder to find. So
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I only have Mallrats, I think. Yeah, Mallrats is the only one I have, so I need to start working on getting the some of the DVDs and the Blu-rays that have Blu-ray copies of his movies.
Yeah.
I have nothing.
Well, start now.
Yes.
yeah, you might want to start before it. I mean, at least I think with Clerks and Clerks 2, those won't be quite so hard to find. Although,
Mallrats isn't hard too. It's
Yeah.
universal.
Yeah, now that
Okay.
Mallrats has a 4K release, it's a little easier.
yeah. Although I will admit, something was odd was that when I got the first Clerks on Amazon, it said that it was going to take about a month to get to me. I don't know why, but
Interesting.
Yeah. Even though Clerks 2 showed up in like a couple days.
Yeah,
And-
I have to wait to buy everything now after this credit card bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to be careful.
Yeah.
It's why I haven't really jumped on the train to buy all this stuff because I'm trying to make sure we have enough money for this trip
I gotcha.
specifically.
Yes. I mean, our buddy JD thankfully gave me copies of, I think, Clerks and something else. I have Mallrats, Clerks, and now one other of his movies. I forget which, but it's a start. I gotta say, I think Clerks 3 might be his best made movie of the ones I've seen. I can't say his best movie made ever because I haven't seen all of Kevin Smith's movies. But I think my favorites might still be Clerks 2 because I still find myself watching clips of the movie like a couple times this past week. I've watched clips of Clerks 2.
I love Clerks
that
too.
The flying car clip. I've watched that a few times too.
For me, it's the Lord of the Rings clip and the Transformers clip from Clerks 2.
Oh my god.
Did your mother slip you the tongue?
Yeah, no, and it's funny, like when you find the history of that joke with Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. That was actually from the second evening with Kevin Smith and how he talks about it, and so
Oh, so that came from him.
Oh,
yeah, dude. Most of that stuff all came from his stand-ups and everything. So
There's only one return, and it ain't of the king, it's of the Jedi.
yeah.
I also really enjoyed the Jay and Silent Bob movie we watched a couple months
Strikes Back?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it.
I hate how
Nope.
fake Hollywood is, but
right.
Goodwill Hunting 2, Hunt Harder, or whatever it was.
Goodwill Hunting 2 hunting season.
Hunting season.
Applesauce, bitch.
And then, of course, at the end of the movie, after we got out, Joe gave us the melted chocolate pretzel.
I got it before the movie.
I got it before the movie.
Yeah,
I saw
Stink
you guys.
palm.
I'm over there watching them from afar. I'm like,
Like, Danny,
I
give me your
hope
hand.
I don't
What?
get that.
Give me your hand. Like,
You're Danny from afar. I see Danny from afar.
sanitizer! No, I went to go wash my hands.
I did stick my hand up my ass.
Oh, you guys! Keep in mind, Joe dressed up as Brody from the View Askew universe.
Hell yeah.
He's kind enough to lend me his movie smock so I could wear it. I tried to come up with a quick Silent Bob, which it wasn't bad, but again, thank you, Joe, for letting me wear your movie smock.
Yeah, I'm glad there was like someone in our audience who was just like, "That's fucking badass." These guys came all dressed up.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I'm glad that theater was packed. I'm saying,
Yeah, that was awesome.
I mean, okay, so Joe, Charles, our friends JD and Chance, they were all able to sit together. I bought my tickets after they did, so I had to sit in the row in front of them. And then Vinny, he grabbed like one of the last seats on the far end of my row. So unfortunately, we all weren't sitting next to each other, but we at least all got to experience the movie together.
Yeah.
What's weird is the seat next to mine was sold out, but then nobody showed up. So I was like, all right, cool.
Just like, hey, I have a bed
More
now.
room for me.
Right.
But out of respect, I still kept the seat open.
Well, this was I cannot wait to hopefully go see Clerks 3 again when the roadshow does come to Phoenix later this year. I can't wait to own it when it comes out eventually on physical.
It'll
So,
be out December 1st. Thanks, JD.
thanks, JD.
yeah.
So, Kevin Smith, once again, thank you for making Clerks 3. It was an absolute pleasure to watch it, and hopefully the next Jerome trip won't be as hard to get to as this past one was for me. And it'll be fun once again heading up to Jerome, Arizona. But for now, this is Danny.
This is Joe.
This is Charles.
Vinny.
And please, oh please remember to slow down. Chew your food.
Snoogans.